All right, let's get into it. We're looking at a financial report today. The title is BMNR Stock. Don't panic. Why this 10% drop is a gift.
Yeah, a 100% buy rating to go with it.
Exactly. So the whole argument is that this recent 10% drop is basically just, market noise. It's completely disconnected from the real fundamentals.
Right, the massive Ethereum holdings, the huge analyst targets, all of that.
Okay, so I see the goal here. It's about separating that short-term panic from the long-term value. But I think the material needs to connect the dots a bit better between the announced leadership transition and why the big institutions are still so confident.
Yeah, there's a real disconnect there. I mean, the report points to the CEO change and new board members as a primary reason for the drop.
Right, the uncertainty.
But then the whole bullish argument just leans entirely on these pre-existing institutional buyers, the Arks, the Morgan Stanleys of the world. The reader is left wondering why this so-called smart money is either totally fine with this chaos or
maybe even supportive of it. We just don't know. The report doesn't say.
it just assumes their conviction. It's a gap.
So we have to bridge that gap. The suggestion here is to integrate the new management's story into the bullish argument. Don't just leave it hanging out there as this isolated piece of bad news.
Exactly. You have to connect that short-term anxiety to the long-term strategic validation. I mean, for example, you could briefly characterize the new leadership's profile.
Okay.
Mention if these new appointments bring specific expertise in scaling up crypto operations. That would actually confirm the long-term focus on becoming this massive treasury for Ethereum.
And that would validate the institutional conviction. It turns a negative into a positive.
It makes the whole story coherent.
Okay, let's turn to that conclusion then, because it is incredibly bullish. We're talking a $76 price target, 147% potential upside.
It's a big call.
It is. And I think acknowledging the primary risks here will actually strengthen the report's credibility. It'll make that gift conclusion feel more persuasive.
Well, that's the tension you have to manage, right? The weakness now is that the report presents this completely one-sided case. 100% buy rating with zero mention of any limitations.
And a sophisticated reader is just going to see that as pure advocacy, not balanced insight.
It just screams sales pitch. It can damage credibility.
So how do you introduce risk without watering down that confidence? That's the key.
You don't need a whole risk section or anything. The suggestion is to briefly introduce and then, neutralize the main risks. It proves your $76 target has been stress tested.
You show you've thought about the other side.
Exactly. A quick sentence or two would do it. For instance, you could briefly talk about the risk of continued broad market weakness. I mean, the report already mentioned that was a factor in the drop.
That's a good point. It's already in there.
Or maybe the execution risk. They're trying to expand that ETH treasury so aggressively. There's always a risk there. And after you mention it, you just conclude that at BMNR's current valuation, those risks are highly tolerable.
So it's not a deal breaker.
It's not. And that small nod to reality just makes your core argument so much stronger.
So, to wrap it up, the theme is clear. It really comes down to strengthening 2 points for the next draft. First, reinforce the bull case by connecting those leadership changes directly to continued institutional support.
Don't leave that as a loose thread.
And second, bolster the report's credibility. Address the counter-arguments to that very ambitious $76 price target.
Yeah, I think those changes will make a huge difference. We'd encourage you to refine the material based on these points and feel free to send it back our way for another look.